foundation. This is Rick's House, the home improvement show.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. And let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Popper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690. Permachink Systems, protecting wood for a long, long time. Not only protecting it, but beautifying it, helping it when it's decayed, working with log home people, and also working with homeowners. They have a store on Prosser Road in Knoxville at 1605 Prosser Road at 800-548-3554, or a store in Sevierville, 1357 Dolly Parton Parkway, 865-774-3307. 865-774-3307. Let me tell you what you're going to learn when you get there. Things I didn't know about. How about the Woodsman line of smooth log caulk? The other day I was looking for something that matched wood trim. I only had two choices. Not with Permachink: pine, honey, tan, cedar tone, brown, and gray. E-wood, epoxy wood putty that really works. Putty that will harden and become just like the wood itself, maybe even better. If you're missing sections of your windowsills or frames or furniture or any wood structure, this is the product for you. But maybe it's something smaller. How about epoxy wood paste? Contact PCS today. Call Permachink Systems today. Toll free 800-548-3554, or at the Sevierville store, 865-774-3307, and find out how to make wood better. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you about our newest sponsor, GFL. That's Green for Life. If you're looking for that dumpster or that roll-off or that piece of equipment that's going to get that debris away from your job site, or just keep things handy around and clean around that big business that you have, GFL wants to be your partner. They want to service you, and they want to take care of you. Locations in Knoxville and Morristown, and you can call them today at 865-475-7777, 865-475-7777. Dean Kings joins me today to tell us about a special offer for Rick's House listeners. Dean.
Yeah, Rick, if they mention that they've heard about us on your show or any kind of thing affiliated with your show, we're going to waive our delivery fee for any roll-off box.
And how much is that, brother?
That's a $75 savings.
$75 savings right off the bat. So if you're looking for that dumpster or that open top roll-off, GFL is the company that's got them for you. They want to take care of you, they want to service you, and they do a great job for us. GFL, call them today, 865-475-7777, and mention that you heard them on Rick's House.
Whether you're living in a brand new home or swimming in a money pit, we've got your home improvement answers. It's Rick's House, the home improvement show.
Hey, y'all, this is Kix Brooks, and you are listening to Rick's House, everything you need to know about home improvement. Here comes Rick.
Oh, well, it's Rick's House. If you got a question, he'll help you figure it out. 'Cause it's Rick's House.
Well, good morning. How you, Mama Nim? It's Saturday. Good to be with you this morning. Thanks for joining us on the program. Appreciate you. Looks like it's going to be a dandy back home. And see Vols making it happen. Yes, sir. How about that? Good stuff on the program. Lots to talk about today. Good gracious, I got stuff to talk about. Most important thing we do is we talk to you. That's important. Appreciate that. Whew, man, I've been in the RV hunt. Thinking about just, doing research for the show. It's just there, and I thought, well, there's a few models out there, I'll look at everything and see everything and come up with everything and figure it out. Good Lord Almighty, there's lots. It ain't just a few models. And once you get started looking at all the different models that are out there, it's crazy. Turn that music up. What is that noise? Ringy-dingy. I don't know. Microphone stand's acting weird this morning. It's always something. You can be as prepared as you want to be prepared, and it still don't matter. There's always going to be something. It's just the nature of the beast. Nature of the beast, he said. What say ye? Mm-hmm. So we got that going on this morning. Getting ready to get the phone lines lined up and ready to rock and roll here. Appreciate y'all being part of what we do each and every day. I don't know, there's something in my microphone that's jingling. I don't know what that is. Oh well. Maybe y'all can't hear it. I hope not. Oh man. So that's good stuff. So much to talk about. I got to get on the line here and got to go to my show notes. Yep, got to go to the old show notes, know what's happening, see what's going on this morning. Brother Dwayne Reese in the house. Good to see you, brother. Master Carpenter Deluxe / Oak Ridge National Laboratory man now. So, good stuff on the program. Let me get to, doggone it, get to where we're headed this morning. Bum puzzled I am. Oh, well. Had to turn a little heat on this morning, but getting ready to turn that off after the first time out. Just need a little of that to get us started. Then it'll be 100. Springtime weather, he said. That's right. That's what time of year it is. So that's all good. Okay, here we go. Let's get over to the emails. Lord have mercy. What do we do without all this technology? What did we do before we had that? We had a pager. It's hunting a payphone to make a call back. Coffee's good this morning. I'll find it here. Hang on, Betty Lou. Let's get to where we're headed. Lord have mercy. I got 3 phones and 4 phones. I don't know how many phones I got and stuff everywhere. Chuck Norris. Brother Chuck Norris, 86. Just showed a video of him fighting the day before. Sparring. Getting a little activity, and then wham, bam. Brother Chuck Norris. Had a good run, though. 86. Done a lot to help a lot of people. Good values. Brother Chuck had some mess ups along the way, just like everybody does. Nobody's excluded from it. But he finished out on a good run. Still hadn't said what caused it. Everybody wants to know what happened. Everybody wants to know what happened. I get it. We all want to know what happened. They said, well, you just need to respect the family. I get that. I'm guessing heart attack. What y'all say? I'm thinking maybe heart attack down the line. Who knows? It just goes to show, and this is the truth. It just goes to show that you can eat what you want, do what you want, drink what you want. We ain't gonna cheat death. It comes for us all. Now, you might prolong it a little bit, but you ain't going to cheat it. Because 1 out of 1 passes. That's a fact. And so, what do? There we go. iPhone is paired. Nope. All right. So I got that. Brother Brian wants to call this morning, so we'll get that fixed in. He's got questions. So we'll make that happen. The Chuck Norris facts. And this is something that Phil Williams back home, brought to everybody's attention. Really, they probably brought it to my attention. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, just tell it like it is, where it come from. But honestly, yeah, he probably brought it to my attention. The facts and Chuck Norris didn't have anything to do with this, but once it caught on, he said he liked it. And he had some favorites, and it helped him to get a lot of work, they said. Chuck Norris has a house on the Sun, vacation house. The doctor didn't spank Chuck Norris when he came out. He spanked the doctor. They couldn't put Chuck Norris's profile. Chuck Norris said this was his favorite. I saw this on the news last night in Texas. Morning, brother. Brother Jim, good to see you this morning. Chuck Norris said his favorite was they couldn't put Chuck Norris's profile on Mount Rushmore. The stone was not hard enough for his beard. That's good stuff right there. I don't care who you are. If you don't like that, there's something wrong with you. And there's a bunch more of them. There's a ton of them out there. Going to talk about a couple things today. I found a new product yesterday I want to talk about called Spool. Let me rephrase that. It's not a new product. It's a new to me product that I found. It's called Spool Air, SPOOLAIR. And one of the things that I've always had an interest in has been solar power, but it's not something that I, knew much about or knew how to use it or how to put it together or anything. I've got some friends that know a lot about it. Chris Keefe being one, Keefe and Sons Electric in Panama City Beach, Florida. He's a master on that solar stuff and on generators. I'm going to reach out to Chris and get him to bring me up to speed on it, because I honestly don't know that much about it. But what I do know is that when you live in a climate like we live in the high desert, where the sun shines every day, amazingly, almost every day, probably 360 days, 365 days a year, you ought to be using it, because it will power lots and lots of things. And there's air conditioning. Man, that coffee's good this morning. And this air conditioner runs completely off solar. Now, it comes in a split mini. Split minis are about $2,000, 2,500, and then it comes in a 12,500 watt BTU, BTU window air conditioner that will run completely off solar, or it'll swap back and forth. If your solar goes down and your electric comes on, it'll click back over on that. It's called Spool, SPOOL Air, AIR. I'm gonna reach out to them and see if I can get somebody on the show to talk about it, because I just thought it was amazing. I'm just gonna be honest. I just thought it was really cool. And I know what my electric bill runs a month, and I know that I have all this sunshine around me that's beaming down on our house every day in this environment, especially. And I'd rather be making a payment on some solar panels than I would be paying the electric company. Nothing against the electric company. I appreciate what you do. But if there's something I can do to make my life eventually off grid, I'm for it. Off grid is good if it works, And there's a lot of things to consider. It's, and a lot of it depends on your environment and where you're at and what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I get all that. I understand. That's all part of it. So, but off grid can be a really good thing. And why not use it? It's just an investment. one that we need to, I'm a fan of. So, like I said, it's going to investigate that more and see what I can come up with, and hopefully we can get that done, and we'll keep you abreast of what's going on, as we continue to move in that direction. Down here, a lot of folks that if you want to live in the high desert, you can do that pretty reasonably, but you've got to have power, and that's how it is. It's solar and wind. Wind power is really not that efficient. I mean, it's really not. However, it can be useful, like in an environment here where, I understand it here because we have tons and tons and tons of wind every day. It's windy every day here. 6 mile an hour, 5 mile an hour to 50 mile an hour. So in that instance, I can see where it's, applicable to utilize it. But it's not near as efficient as solar is. Solar's pretty efficient, really. It really is. So there we go. All right, and get the news back on here and see what's going on. Tennessee Vols done good in the in little basketball there. Catching up on stuff from back home. The Grizz Market and Deli up in Granger County, for those of you listening to us up there back home, is doing a good job up there. You can get a biscuit and fuel and all those kinds of things. Go by and check them out. Part of the family of our friend Harold and the team at Knox Trail Salvage. Does a great job for us, been with us 20 years. So go by and check them out and get a biscuit. And I understand they got some really good sandwiches. And then last week they had a special where you bought any deli sandwich, Philly cheesesteak, that kind of stuff. They got all that going on in it, and I understand it's really, really good. So go by and check that out. And let's get back into the program here. I'm going to have to fill up on some coffee and talk to you about some of that. Let me get back to my list. Man, it's been a busy morning already, and I'm just getting started. We're having to keep things kind of closed down because just the heat from the sun, and we're going to work on that. And on top of the slides, that's one of the things. The slides are not very well insulated in a travel trailer. They're really not. And so because of that, I've been thinking about how I can re-insulate the top of this and do that, because that's a point, in this sun. You think about it, we're in a big metal box. We've talked about that, but we're in a big metal box, and that's part of it. The other thing is we need to, these steps are getting difficult. They're difficult for Amy and I both as we do up with that. So I was thinking about, putting a little deck on the front, a stoop basically with a ramp to come up and down, which is a little bit easier, bringing groceries in, bringing groceries out, those kinds of things. We've got some friends that want to come over that they can't get in this trailer. And then quite frankly, it's hard for us carrying groceries or doing all those kinds of things. And so I began to look at doing that. And then I got to thinking, I thought, well, there's no reason to put pressure treated lumber here because it's dry every day. And if it rains, it don't rain much except during the monsoon season, which is coming, where we get a lot of rain for a short period of time. So I thought, well, why spend the extra money on pressure treated when, really and truly, there's no moisture to contend with. Actually, it's a lack of moisture that's the issue. So, it's why do that? And so I was talking to Dan yesterday at McCoy's, and I told him, I said, hey, they would do a need to build out a pressure treat. And he said, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, well, he said, and this is what he said. He said, does it touch the ground? I said, yeah, it's going to sit on blocks. We can't put it in the ground because the plumbing and stuff in the park. And I said, I'm going to set it on cat blocks or set it up on those posts, those triangular blocks that are made to hold a 4x4 or two, however I build it, because I'll just build it inexpensively, put it on 1 foot centers and call it good. He said, yeah, there's one thing you ain't thought about. And I said, what's that? He said, termites. I said, you're right. Let me just put him a big smorgasbord of spruce and pine out there that's not treated. Hey, boys, there's a buffet. Come get on the buffet. Not the Jimmy Buffett, the buffet. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think about that, but I should have. Yes, sir. So, yeah, it's got to be treated. And that's why. If you've ever dealt with termite damage, and we have dealt with that, that is something. I'm going to tell y'all, it is absolutely positively something. It really is. So, yep. Got to use that pressure treated because of the buffet. That's part of it. All right, we're going to take that first time out here this morning. Hear from some folks that bring you the Rick's House program. When we come back, we're going to jump back in. Got a lot to talk about today. Going to talk about the research I've been doing on travel trailers and what's out there for young people, your first travel trailer, or if you're like us and thinking about a smaller one for those short trips that you have to make. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I'm finding and some of the things to consider that honestly I didn't think about, but now I'm thinking about them. So we're going to talk about that. Got a new band I like, the Filthy Heathens. We're going to talk about that. They're going to be in Newmarket, I saw. Now, I don't know where they're playing in Newmarket. Where would you play in Newmarket, Tennessee? I mean, but they're kind of a Southern rock band. I hadn't heard of much of them yet, but I saw them on Facebook. I think look like they're pretty good. And we're going to talk about that. Pressure treated pine versus that. We got that. What is the importance of towing those vehicles? We're going to talk about that this morning. So, and as always, we can talk to you via the Facebook. The book face as it is. Yes, sir. It is the book face. You can join us on it. And we'd love to hear from you this morning on the book face. So let's hear from some of the folks that bring you the Rick's House Radio Show program. And I'm going to get some coffee and then we will jump back into it. Good Saturday morning to you. It's the first day of spring, I think was yesterday. I thought it was today. Thanks for joining us on the program. We'll be right back. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you about our newest sponsor, GFL. That's Green for Life. If you're looking for that dumpster or that roll-off or that piece of equipment that's going to get that debris away from your job site, or just keep things handy around and clean around that big business that you have, GFL wants to be your partner. They want to service you, and they want to take care of you. Locations in Knoxville and Morristown, and you can call them today at 865-475-7777, 865-475-7777. Dean Kings joins me today to tell us about a special offer for Rick's House listeners. Dean.
Yeah, Rick, if they mention that they've heard about us on your show or any kind of thing affiliated with your show, we're going to waive our delivery fee for any roll-off box.
And how much is that,
That's
brother?
a $75 savings.
$75 savings right off the bat. So if you're looking for that dumpster or that open top roll-off, GFL is the company that's got them for you. They want to take care of you, they want to service you, and they do a great job for us. GFL, call them today, 865-475-7777, and mention that you heard them on Rick's House. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knox Trail Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxtrailSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite. Permachink Systems, protecting wood for a long, long time. Not only protecting it, but beautifying it, helping it when it's decayed, working with log home people, and also working with homeowners. They have a store on Prosser Road in Knoxville at 1605 Prosser Road at 800-548-3554, or a store in Sevierville, 1357 Dolly Parton Parkway, 865-774-3307.
865-774-3307. Let me tell you what you're going to learn when you get there. Things I didn't know about. How about the Woodsman line of smooth log caulk? The other day I was looking for something that matched wood trim. I only had two choices, not with Permachink: pine, honey, tan, cedar tone, brown, and gray. E-wood, epoxy wood putty that really works. Putty that will harden and become just like the wood itself, maybe even better. If you're missing sections of your windowsills or frames or furniture or any wood structure, this is the product for you. But maybe it's something smaller. How about epoxy wood paste? Contact PCS today. Call Permachink Systems today. Toll free 800-548-3554 or at the Sevierville store 865-774-3307 and find out how to make wood better.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
To build a strong house, you gotta start with a solid foundation. This is Rick's House, the home improvement show. Waking up between you and Mama every Saturday morning. Lord, it must be a big old bed. You're listening to Rick's House.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. Hey, ya mama Nim. Well, I thought I had a spit good. Nothing a little diced tomato can won't take care of. Doing a little research. It's kind of a music Saturday morning. Hope y'all enjoying it. Sometimes I just need the music. You know what I'm saying? You ever just need the music? There it went. Music provided by Epidemic Sound. Bunch of artists I pay for every month to be able to utilize their stuff that they're doing. And I just go through 30,000 titles. I mean, it's just amazing what they do. It's crazy. Good stuff on the program. So I've been doing some research on RVs. And to me, everything, and we've talked a lot about this on the program, to me, everything's a recreational vehicle. I mean, it is. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Everything's a recreational vehicle to me, whether it's a RV, a travel trailer, a pop-up, a trunk camper. I mean, you know, whatever. It's a recreational vehicle. Let's turn this off. So, you know, instead of saying travel trailer or fifth wheel or Class C or Super C or Class A or Class B or BI 549 or whatever, instead of saying all that, I just classify them all as RVs. And that's a lot of folks do that. So when I say RV, that's what I mean.
it could be any of those kinds of things. So specifically what I've been looking at and researching is I've been specifically looking at and researching small. I first started with a truck camper. And here's why. Here's the reason for it. And here's why it's what I've been doing. You know, when you in the area where we are, there is a lot of things to see. And so we found a place that we really like, and it's a good base camp. But within an hour to 2 to 3 hours of us, it's like living in another country. There is so much to see and do, and so much that I want to share with y'all, so that those of you that can't travel and can travel with us. And there's so much of that I want to do and to share and to be a part of and to do all that, you know what? I'm not going to drag this 41 foot travel trailer all over the place. It's really expensive with gas being almost $4 a gallon. I can't afford to. That's one thing. The other thing is it's set up, and it's not set up to, it takes a little doing to travel with what we have, how we have it set up now, and my office is here and so forth. So the other part of that is when you live in an area like we do, where we're at right now, we are 2 blocks from the hospital, about 3 to 4 blocks from a Dollar General store market. We are close to about the same distance to our primary care physicians, the dentist office. We are 5 to 6 miles from anything that we need, except for Walmart, and that's an hour away. Well, the specialists, and this is something that you got to think about when you think about healthcare as you're traveling. The specialists, they come in and they're here, once every month, and they come in either from Odessa or from Midland or El Paso or wherever, and they hit each of the little satellite locations, and you can schedule an appointment and all that's fine and good. But if you need to see them quicker than that, then it requires a 2 to 3 hour trip, or, to set it up and do that. Well, for us, that trip is, we don't want to do that. And, we don't want to get up and drive 3 hours and wait in the doctor's office and do what you got to do and do all that, and then turn right back around and spend the whole day driving and doing all that. We just don't want to do that. So it also gives us an opportunity. If I'm going to drive 3 hours, I'm going to explore that area and find out about it and see what's there and deal with it that way. And so that being said, so one of the things I began to look at was a truck camper, because a truck camper you can put in the back of the truck, and they're nice, and you can go and then go to the doctor's appointment in Boondock, or, go to a state park, or, which is inexpensive, especially in Texas, and, kind of make a weekend out of it and then come back and go back to doing what you do. So that's something that really interested me. So I began to look at that. Well, truck campers are really expensive. I didn't realize how expensive they are, even used ones. And then the addition to that is having the proper truck, the right truck to haul the thing is can be quite taxing. And they always to me, just to me. And if I was going to have a truck camper, I'd want a dually for that stability, because unless it's a pop-up one or a small one or a lightweight one, it just looks to me like that it's, I don't know, I'd always be worried about the thing flipping me on my side. That's just me talking. That's honest, brutal truth of it. So that being said, so I looked at that, and it's hard to find one that's not expensive. So I thought, well, let's push that out of the way. So then I began to look at small travel trailers, little small travel trailers that are available, that are A, cost effective, and B, are a space that we can utilize. But not only that not necessarily have to be pulled by my truck, which does not get the fuel economy that our car does, our SUV. So then I began to look at travel trailers that can be pulled by that, which are minis. Now, mini really constitutes, like a teardrop and those kinds of things that are small, but what I'm looking for is a 13 to 20 foot, really probably 13 to 18 foot travel trailer that we can utilize to go on these short trips and pull with the SUV that we have. For a couple of reasons. One is I don't want to be dragging something big and heavy around. B, I need for it to be, self-sufficient so that if we're boondocking, I can use the generator, but I'd rather use solar and those kinds of things so that they're efficient. And so, with this least amount of headache as I can, but we're going to travel in comfort. That we made our minds up that if we were going to do this lifestyle, we were going to travel in comfort. So I began to look at that. And so as I started looking at that and Googling it and so forth, oh my goodness, there are so many of these things, different makes, different models, different sizes, different features. And then I began to do some research that I want to talk about today on, the most popular small travel trailer in the country right now for the last couple of years has been a Keystone Coleman that's sold by Camping World. Now, I don't hear good things about Camping World with their service departments, but what I do hear about them is I use them they have good pricing on things that you have to buy from a distributor of travel products that you can't get other places. They have good pricing on that. They're a member of the Good Sam's, and Good Sam's roadside assistance and that part of the network has been fantastic for us. I mean, absolutely fantastic. They have come to assist us on the side of the road, change tires back. I mean, I can't say enough good things about them as a travel partner as you're traveling. I mean, it's really, really good. They've done a fabulous job. And it looks like from a sales perspective, they are so large that they have some really good discounts. So I got to looking at that. So I read an article this past week about several articles actually about what's the best value in travel trailers and small travel trailers and so forth. And so, why is, what are the brands? And we talked about this. Brian's asked me a lot about this from out in Lacey, Washington about, what should I buy? Which one should I look to? Which one should I, think about in terms of, looking at, sorry, I need to change something there. Morning, Harold, Miss Carolyn, Angie, good to see y'all this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I was over on the Rick's House Radio Show page. Now I'm back over here. But I was looking at that and so it's kind of like everything. Just because it has a name on it doesn't mean that it's necessarily as good a product as it used to be. There are some companies out there that have decided that they're going to run on their name and are not doing things as they should. There are other companies out there that are doing that. And RVs are just like anything else. There's a few companies that build them all. One of the biggest brands and one of the best brands that has scored the best is the Keystone. And Keystone and Forest River, which is what we have. And we just, out of the research, I got lucky, just to tell you the truth, has been a great product. We've had really good success out of it, and it's become a great product. But it's a good product. So I began to research those. Well, I noticed in these small travel trailers that there's a difference between the Keystone Coleman. They're about $10,000 for the small one, brand new, 2026, and it's all electric. There's no propane. Electric water heater, electric range, electric refrigerator, all those kinds of things. So then I begin to think about, well, what about boondocking? Is it solar prepped? Is it ready for that? Will it take, obviously you can run your generator because it's a 30 amp service, and a generator will do that, but how important is it? I like to be able to run my refrigerator while we're traveling, so you don't have to worry about that. If I just need to duck in and, I've got to think about, in order to do this, I have to think about, now that I'm, working not like I used to. I mean, income is an issue that you have to consider, your expenses and your outgo and all those kinds of things. So I began to look at that, and I was watching these videos of the competitors of the Coleman. And so one particular salesman that I found in Florida was, he calls himself the Coleman Killer. And so there's a variety of other products out there, and he did a side-by-side comparison, and I thought it was excellent, and it made me look at some things that I hadn't thought about. All electric sounds great. No propane. You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to worry about the dangers of propane and it leaking, and and there being fires and all those kinds of things. It's become an issue. And so with that, I thought about, what's the downside of that? Well, there's a few things that they have not done that for about $2,000 more or $3,000 more that you get. And then it's a matter of, are those things that you need to look at, things that are important to you? And so as a result of that, I want to share that with you. And this has been my research as I've been working during the week, trying to do the other things, get our taxes ready, all those kinds of things that we're working on and trying to do. So it's less expensive for a reason. And that's what we're going to share. We're going to hear from some of those folks that bring you the program when I come back. I'm going to go down the list, and we're going to talk about some of those things and some of those things that you need to think about, especially if these are designed. The Keystone Coleman is designed to be your first camper, not your last one, your first one, to see if you like it, and to do that with, inexpensively. You can, if you got good credit, you can finance them for $100 a month, $80 a month, that kind of thing, if you can find a used one. So it's not a huge expense, but there are some things to consider, and we're going to talk about that coming up on the program this morning. And I'm going to share that with you. It's Rick's House. I appreciate you listening to us. Hang on, young'uns. We'll be right back. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. And let me tell you about my friends at Knox Trail Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxtrailSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Want the good, the bad, and the ugly of home improvement? You found it. This is Rick's House.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you about our newest sponsor, GFL. That's Green for Life. If you're looking for that dumpster or that roll-off or that piece of equipment that's going to get that debris away from your job site, or just keep things handy around and clean around that big business that you have, GFL wants to be your partner. They want to service you, and they want to take care of you. Locations in Knoxville and Morristown, and you can call them today at 865-475-7777, 865-475-7777. Dean Kings joins me today to tell us about a special offer for Rick's House listeners. Dean.
Yeah, Rick, if they mentioned that they've heard about us on your show or any kind of thing affiliated with your show, we're going to waive our delivery fee for any roll-off box.
And how much is that?
That's a $75 savings.
$75 savings right off the bat. So if you're looking for that dumpster or that open top roll-off, GFL is the company that's got them for you. They want to take care of you, they want to service you, and they do a great job for us. GFL, call them today, 865-475-7777, and mention that you heard them on Rick's House. Permachink Systems, protecting wood for a long, long time. Not only protecting it, but beautifying it, helping it when it's decayed, working with log home people, and also working with homeowners. They have a store on Prosser Road in Knoxville at 1605 Prosser Road at 800-548-3554, or a store in Sevierville, 1357 Dolly Parton Parkway, 865-774-3307. 865-774-3307. Let me tell you what you're going to learn when you get there. Things I didn't know about. How about the Woodsman line of smooth log caulk? The other day I was looking for something that matched wood trim. I only had two choices. Not with Permachink: pine, honey, tan, cedar tone, brown, and gray. E-wood, epoxy wood putty that really works. Putty that will harden and become just like the wood itself, maybe even better. If you're missing sections of your windowsills or frames or furniture or any wood structure, this is the product for you. But maybe it's something smaller. How about epoxy wood paste? Contact PCS today. Call Permachink Systems today. Toll free 800-548-3554, or at the Sevierville store, 865-774-3307, and find out how to make wood better. Located in the heart of East Tennessee, where they do full service plumbing and repairs. All Clear Plumbing. Wheeler and Daniel, they know how to get the things right in your house. From a broken water pipe to an emergency repair to a water line installed, or maybe something that you never thought a plumber could do. Who do you call? You call All Clear Plumbing. Talk to Wills, All Clear Plumbing, your choice for plumbing. 865-443-7752.
Oh, well, it's Rick's House. If you got a question, he'll help you figure it out. 'Cause it's Rick's House.
Whoa, whoa, way down south in the rain and the heat. It sure get hot there, you can cook an egg on the concrete. Walking around on the city streets, they go, whoosh, let the big dog eat. Let the big dog eat. Call the doctor, call the nurse. I don't know what it is, but I know it sure hurts. Call the ambulance and call the cop. Call the number of the man of God. Let the big dog eat.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. Appreciate you being part of what we do each and every Saturday morning. We're going to jump into the talking about what to look for when we start looking for that first camper, that if you want to be mobile, you want to have that. And obviously size is an issue. You know, if we're traveling 3 hours to see doctors and do that kind of stuff, and then we're going to make an event out of that and let the whole thing happen, then, you know, there's some things to consider. I don't want some great big sum, A, at $4 a gallon for gas. I don't want something that's going to eat us up. B, I'd like to have something that we could utilize our SUV to pull because it gets much better gas mileage. And then we want something that's light, but we also want something that's not going to fall apart on us and without spending a fortune. And so that's part of what we're going to talk about today. Now, here's the things to consider. So what I did is I watched this salesman who took the Keystone, which is a really good product, and took its sister company, one of its sister companies, and compared it to J-Flight
I also compared it to some others. And here's the differences between those two products. And we're talking about the difference in $10,000 and $13,000. So we're about $3,000 difference. So in the Coleman, the way that they do that is, first of all, stabilizer jacks. On the Coleman product, you're going to have 2 stabilizer jacks on the back. On the other products that are available, and there's about 10 of them, for the same size, the same similar floor plan, you're going to have 4 stabilizer jacks, 2 on the front, 2 on the back. You know, when you're getting up, especially in a small trailer, and you're walking through and somebody's trying to sleep and you're piled in there together anyway, that can be an issue. That's going to bounce. That's one thing. Okay. Second of all, the Coleman is an all electric. So it doesn't have an oven. It doesn't have propane. It uses a electric fireplace. And you hear us talk about our electric fireplace that we utilize for heat, but that's a 7,500 watt fireplace. And then like a 3,500 watt. It's got a low and a high and all that. The fireplace is a 4,500 BTU in the electric. So you've got to have electric to do that, or you got to run a generator, or possibly solar. That's a difference. The Coleman product has a wall unit air conditioner in it. Now, one of the products we talked about earlier on the program was the spool air, and that's something that we've looked at. And the spool air is a very efficient air conditioner for a wall unit, and it's 12,500 BTUs. I don't know what sizes. I've not been able to determine what size the wall unit is in the Coleman product yet, but I need to look at that. The other products that are in the $13,000 range to $15,000 range, but around 13, it has a rooftop air conditioner that's 13,000 BTUs. Now you say, well, Rick, it's just, it's a little camper. Well, yeah, but you get in one in this kind of heat, that's important. So that's a huge difference for me right there. Because again, we're talking about comfort. I want comfort, and depending on what your climate is, if you're in a small camper and you're utilizing a wall unit, you may have humidity issues. That's something that you'll want to consider. Third of all, I should say, there's no propane. So you have a convection, not a convection, I forget what it's called. Anyway, you just got a glass cooktop in there. You don't have propane to do that, and you don't have an oven. So you're going to have to utilize an air fryer, which is fine. But many of us do that, or a toaster oven or something like that. The other models have a stove, an actual stove and oven in there, and they're 2 burners. So there again, propane, and you have an actual propane heater. And if you're in cold climates, that can be a real issue. It really can. So that's another thing to consider. The Coleman does not have a sink in the bathroom. So if you go in to use the bathroom, now it does have a toilet, and it's a wet bath, which has a toilet in the shower. So it does have a shower. It does have a 7-gallon water heater that's electric, which is going to consume a lot of electricity. Some of the other units have continuous on-demand hot water heaters. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're hooked up in a park, I don't care how big your trailer is, if you've got continuous hot water heater on demand, that is a plus. That is going to be something that is going to be utilized, and it really, really nice. So there's an issue. The Coleman has kind of a weird queen setup, because the queen size bed is really kind of a queen on one side, about the twin portion of it. And then it comes down and makes an odd angle. And so really, for Amy and I both to be able to utilize that would be difficult. And the others don't have that. They have an east to west configuration, which means it runs across the width of the camper, but the bed is the same length on both sides. So there's an issue right there. So it's really, in the Coleman's really not a true queen or full size bed. Part of it's cut off, and I could see where that could be an issue. Next of all, and then not, having to wash your hands in the kitchen sink. I just, you go in and do your business and do what you've got to do in the restroom. I prefer to keep restroom things in the restroom and kitchen things in the kitchen. That's just a preference for me. So that was an issue for me, and something that I thought about. It has a single axle. The Coleman product does. Well, the single axle is fine for the weight of the trailer. I get that. But some of the others have double axles. And with as often as until we upgraded tires on our travel trailer, that was an issue. It really was. It was an issue. And until we upgraded our tires, there's a lot of times that I may curb a tire or bust a tire or a tire go down, but I still had 3 to limp on down to the tire store on, and I didn't have to sit on the side of the road or get out and change the spare. The Coleman doesn't have a spare. Not with it. You got to buy a spare and throw it in the back of whatever it is you're driving. Many of the other campers in that same line of equal have a spare mounted to the back. That's huge, because now you're talking about another rim and another, and I've had to buy rims and tires, and you're spending another $300 to $500 depending on what you do, just right on top of it, that you've got to do out of the gate. Because I'm telling you, if they come to, service you on the side of the road, you have to have a spare for them to put it on. And if you ain't got one and it's not mounted to the back of the trailer, then you got to carry it in what you're doing or up on the roof or something like that. So that was a bigger deal to me, honestly, probably one of the biggest deals as I began to look at those campers and at those things. That was something that was really an important part of what I wanted to look at and say, you know what, this may or may not be something that I want to contend with. It has the cabinets are not wooden front. They are covered with a vinyl paper on them, as in the Coleman, which is a cheaper way to do it, as opposed to wood front cabinets and sealed drawers. Now, as we have a drawer in our kitchen that I just prepared the slides on, we talked about that last week. And that's something that, as much as we use those, anything in our travel trailer that has that paper on it, after, we've been in it 5 years now, almost, that paper wears. Anything that wears, it'll come off. And so I've had to add trim and cut it back and do those kinds of things. And it looks nice. But again, it's not near as durable, and it's not going to perform the way that the others will perform. So, there, once again, is another issue with, a place that they've cut quality in order to make it affordable. And that's what you can afford. That's fine. I'm not saying anything about that, but if you can afford the difference, and in payment, you're probably talking about $5 to $10 a month. So if you're thinking about payments, it's just a minimal cost and a minimal expenditure to upgrade a little bit and get something a little better. Okay. And then over the bed, in the queen size area, over the bed, in the Coleman product, it has a shelf that has nothing on it. So you're going to have to be concerned about things. It doesn't have cabinet doors, where in the other models, they have cabinet doors. So once you put that in there, you can close the cabinet door. And as you're traveling, you're not going to have as much time to, you're going to have to make sure that stuff will travel on that shelf and it won't come off. And that can be an issue too. So, that's important. That's part of a consideration. And that seems like a little thing, but that's not a little thing. That's a big thing. So, and then no propane heat. If you're limited on low, if you have, and I'm not opposed to propane. Let me just say out that. But when the propane starts to get some age on it, I'm going to make sure that our propane is checked, because anything that moves, you get loose connections, you get that kind of stuff, that can be very dangerous. And I don't want anybody to wake up getting blowed across the country. So, but if you're in a cold environment, that propane heat's awfully nice. And plus, the only electrical requirements for the propane is being able to blow the blower to kick on and run. And many times you can do that off of your battery. So, there are some things that separate the two by about $3,000, but those things add up quickly, because some of them you're going to have to add, like a spare tire. So that's a rim. Rims are $100. The tire is going to be $100 to $200. So there's $300, bam, right there. And then when you put the other things in there, I'm not sure that, although it's a great value, I'm not sure that if you're going to, if you're just running to the lake, 30 minutes away to spend the weekend, it's a whole lot better than tent camping. And if you're hooked up to, power at the campground, not that big a deal. But if you're going to boondock, it's not prepped for solar. Not ready for that. The other trailers are prepped for solar and have inverted plugs, which means that they're prepped and ready to run on solar, and you don't have to run separately. Whereas even in my travel trailer, the plugs are 120. They're not made to run on solar. So, when we go to solar, we're going to have to add to that to make that work and to make that happen. So there are some expenses you'll have right out of the gate that's going to put you close. So why not just go ahead and do it in the beginning and be able to both boondock and to be able to go to the campground? That's my point. So although the Keystone Coleman is a good value, I think, and probably a pretty good little trailer, I think that it would be wise for us at least to step up. I think I would rather have a 1 or 2 year old, 3 year old, 4 year old travel trailer that has those additional amenities to it that I can utilize on the road, as opposed to having a brand new one, which I like brand new and travel trailers. I do now, because, you say, oh, well, as soon as you drive it on the lot, it's going to depreciate. That's true. But the fact of it is that I don't care, because I'm going to keep it until the wheels fall off it. So I'm going to be able to absorb that. And there's something about having new and having warranty. 1 year warranty on the Coleman versus 2 to 3 years on the other models. The other's roof warranty. Some of the other models have a lifetime roof warranty on them. Roof is very important, and that's an expensive part of what you do as this thing travels down the road. So my advice is to look at the warranty, look at what you're paying for, look at what it doesn't have in comparison to the others, and you can get pretty close in price without breaking the bank. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to bring to everybody's attention today on the program was, here's the research I'm doing. Here's what I'm saying. Now that I'm doing that, oh my goodness, I did not realize how many of these camper dealers and folks there are in the world. I mean, there are a ton of them. There are a ton of models. Go to Consumer Reports. That's what I did. And you'll find out which travel trailer companies are getting the good warranty, are getting the good information, are getting the things that will give you the warranty that you need, so that you not are spending a bunch of money on the side that you wasn't planning on spending in the very beginning. And so that's the program information for the day, and that's something that I wanted to share with y'all, and I hope it's been helpful as you look for that process of thinking about getting into the travel lifestyle. Now, I've got something I've got to do this morning, so I'm going to go a little short. I may come back on this afternoon and do something additional, but I just wanted to thank y'all so much for allowing us to be with you each and every Saturday morning and bring you Rick's House. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me. God bless you. Hug them babies. We love you. I'll see you next time, maybe later in the day today. Thank you.
3, 4. Whoa, whoa, way down south in the rain and the heat. Sure get hot there, you can cook an egg on the concrete. Walking around on the city streets, they go, whoosh, let the big dog eat.